Hello and welcome back. This is the fourth part of our lesson on credit rating. Before we begin our lesson today, I want you to think about the types of rating systems you're familiar with that are used to rate or rank your progress in comparison with either yourself or other groups or individuals. Okay, what I mean by rating scale is give me something that you get graded on. Oh, grade. That should be a really big key feature for you. Grades, okay? So if you get a grade, what do you get sent home to you at the end of the 9 weeks? Well, we call those report cards. Report cards, it's a system, it's a grading system that your teachers use to show you the type of progress that you're making in school. But schools aren't the only places that there's rating scales. Think about sports. If you've ever gone to a sports game, maybe a college football game, you know that they have statistics. So sports statistics. Sports statistics compare players to other players. In baseball, there's batting averages. The higher your average is, the better you are at hitting the baseball when it's pitched to you. There in basketball are points scored per game and assists and all of these different statistics that statisticians keep in basketball. Same with football. You're going to look at yards run and passes completed and touchdowns made. So sports statistics is another rating system that we use to compare items. If you're a music fan, then you've probably seen the music top 40 list or top 100 list. If you've ever listened to the radio, you'll hear top 40 come out, and you can think about all the artists who have been number one on the Billboard music list. So there's plenty of different rating scales. These are just 3 examples, but there's so many more that we could discuss. But there are reasons why we have rating scales, why we have these different ways to compare information. School report cards show your progress as a student. Are you learning things, or do you maybe need help in a specific area? Sports statistics show how good a player or a team can be. The music top 40 kind of shows what everybody's favorite song is for a while. If you are an author and you're on the best-selling list, it shows that, hey, this is an author in books that might be interesting for me to read. So not only are there rating lists for all of these different things, but there are also rating scales for borrowing money. And that's what we're going to look at today. Lending companies use credit reporting to collect data about how individuals use credit. And then this information is used to rate the borrowers. So starting with the first time that you as a student or as an individual will apply for a credit card, here's some information that your credit card company is going to look into. They're going to look at your history. Where do you live and work? What credit accounts and amounts do you have? So you're looking at your balances, how much can you spend, and your and limits. They're going to look at your payment history. Have you been making on-time payments, or are your payments kind of late sometimes? They're going to look at recent inquiries from creditors, and that's saying, have you applied for any other loans or credit cards recently? And they're going to look at any collection or legal action that people have had to take to collect your debt. So what that means is if you have not been faithful in paying off loans or paying off your credit balance and what you owe, the credit card company or lenders can come after you and try and come and collect your money. And sometimes they'll do so much as make phone calls to you every day or even come knock on your door to try and collect your money that you have owed them. To find out just a little bit more about how credit reporting companies use your information, I want you to go to page 26 and 27 in your student booklet. Go ahead and pause this video and you can read those 2 pages just to find out more information about the credit reporting process. So now you've finished reading the student guide on pages 26 and 27. So the information in your credit report, it's used to calculate a credit score, okay? And this is a score that companies use to see if you have relatively good or relatively not very good credit. So lenders, people who are going to give you money, they use your score to figure out and to predict if someone is going to repay what was borrowed and to see if they'll repay on time. So in essence, lenders, they use the information available to figure out if someone is a high, medium, or low risk. A low score might be one reason why an application is denied. Or if you have a low score, that just might mean that you have a smaller credit limit available. So if you have a low score, your credit card company might say, well, we're only going to give you a $500 credit limit. That means you only have $500 that you can spend on that credit card. Whereas if you have a higher score, you might have anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 available to you. Someone with a high credit score, they're most likely going to have lower interest rates. So remember, interest is that money that you have to pay back on top of what you already owe. So the higher your score, the less you have to pay back. You can kind of think of a credit score similar to a 5-star rating at a hotel. If you go on to Yelp or you just look at Google and you look at ratings of people who have stayed in different hotels, you're probably going to want to stay at a 5-star hotel rather than a 1 or a 2-star hotel, all right? People go to 5-star hotels and they write wonderful reviews about how lovely the service was and how comfortable the beds were at this hotel, whereas a 1 to 2-star hotel, they might have nasty bed bugs or something gross, and it might have been a terrible time and awful service. Where are you going to be most likely to spend your money? Are you going to spend it on the 1-star hotel, or are you going to spend it on the 5-star hotel? Credit card lenders do very similar things. They look at your credit score, is it low, medium, or high, and they decide how much they're willing to give you, how much they're willing to spend on you. How big of a risk are you to them? The lower the risk, the more they're going to want to help you out. So who is watching your credit score? Well, there are 3 United States credit reporting agencies that keep track of how you use your credit. So here are the credit reporting agencies. There's Equifax, there's Experian, and there's TransUnion. So there's 3, and other companies might look to 1 or 2 or 3 of these credit reporting companies. But these are the 3 big ones that keep track of your credit and how you use your credit. So the credit reporting agencies, they collect all this information and they share it with businesses. Businesses being credit card providers like Discover Card or Visa, lenders, people who would maybe give you a loan, banks. Banks will use this information also because they give loans out. Landlords will use this information to make sure that you are a good and faithful person and will continue to pay them your rent. Employers will sometimes look at your credit score, as well as insurance companies. Now, I don't want you to be fearful for your privacy. Businesses, they have to have a really good reason to investigate your creditworthiness. And usually the only reason why a credit card provider or lender or bank, landlords or employers or insurance companies are going to be looking at your credit score is if you perhaps have submitted an application. Maybe you would like to get insurance through a company, or maybe you want to get a credit card application. That your credit information is not just freely available to these companies unless you specifically ask them for money. One example would be a car salesman. They're going to request a credit report when you apply for an auto loan to buy a car. All right, they want to make sure that your credit score is good so that you can afford their car and you're actually going to pay them back on time. Or a landlord, they might look at your credit report before deciding whether or not they're going to rent out an apartment to someone. To find out more about credit agencies and your credit score, you can go ahead and look in your student guide at pages 28 and 29. and they give some really good information about your credit score and how much power that credit score can have when you are looking to borrow money from someone. So go ahead, pause this, and read about credit score on pages 28 and 29. I want to point out that you guys can actually view your own credit report and credit score. Each of the 3 credit reporting agencies, they provide a free report once every year. You could also go online, and there are many places that give you a free credit score. Places like creditkarma.com, you might have heard different TV commercials about them. They provide a free credit score for you. And I would definitely encourage you guys to check out your report at least once a year, especially now that you are entering the age of adulthood. So that way you can make sure that the information is accurate, and it also helps confirm that no one else is using your identity to access credit. If you've ever heard of identity theft, checking your credit score is one way to make sure that you don't have a case of identity theft. So we've talked about credit, about how to responsibly borrow money. We've looked at how you can apply for a credit loan and ideas and categories that will help you become good borrowers. But how might you soon use credit? Just to let you know, you actually can't have a credit contract on your own until you're an adult. So unless you are 18 years old, credit card companies are not going to give you a credit card. Lenders probably aren't going to give you money. If you're under the age of 21 and you apply for a credit card, you're going to have to show proof of income. So you have to have a job if you're under 21, or you need to have a co-signer to be considered in order to receive a credit card. So remember, a co-signer is somebody who signs along with you and who agrees that if you cannot pay your money for the month, they will help you. And if you can't pay and you're late on your payments, their score will also be affected. So you're starting out, you're still a young adult, and you need to figure out how you can make a good impression. So what are some things that you can do in order to apply for credit that shows that you're doing some good things? So here are some actions that you can take right now to help you with your first credit card request. Okay, you can establish a relationship with a bank or credit union. That's that purple triangle right here. So right now, a step that you could make in order to have a better credit score is to open a bank account. That's a very simple step, and it's one that banks are going to look at, lending agencies are going to look at. Do you have a bank account? Show evidence of steady employment. Now, you might be out in high school and you might not yet have a job, but hopefully you're looking forward to the future and what jobs you would like. Even a part-time job, walking dogs or babysitting is going to help. Use a checking account responsibly. Make sure that you have money in the bank when you use your checking account. That kind of goes along with establishing a relationship with your bank, opening a bank account. And you can also ask someone to co-sign on any loan agreement that you need. Finding a responsible adult who can help you and make sure that you are making responsible decisions with your money and will co-sign with you if you ever need a loan. Those are some steps that you can take right now as you're starting out as a young adult. So this brings me into our challenge assignment. I am going to challenge you to devise a plan for action that you can take now so that you can practice sensible borrowing habits and to build a good reputation as a borrower. So if you turn into your notebook into challenge 2B, building credit worthiness, you have an assignment, and this is a kind of an essay. Look on the second page. There is a required criteria. There are 9 things that I'm looking for in your content. So if you can summarize your level of readiness, how ready are you to take on credit? High, medium, low risk. You can show evidence of your borrowing reputation right now. Do you give things back when you borrow things or not? There are specific behaviors. So you can see those 9 things. If you can write an essay and answer those 9 questions in your essay, I will grade that, and that will be a challenge assignment for you. So this lesson is over, and you can begin that challenge assignment right now. If you have any questions, I would encourage you to look back at this this video, or look in your student guide booklet, and you can read more about credit worthiness in there as well. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.